A ball is punted in the air from a player's foot that is 2 feet above the ground with an initial velocity of 32 feet per second. The height of the ball is represented by the function h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 2. So I basically have some guy or girl punting a soccer ball. So I have to kick it up. The ball gets kicked up in a parabolic motion, and it starts 2 feet above the ground. I have this equation already generated for me, so I can use it. I know that the height is in feet and the time is in seconds. I'd like to know what the maximum height of the ball. What's that maximum height? So I basically need to find, right here, I know this is my vertex. Alright, so if I want to find my vertex, the easiest way to do that is to have my equation in vertex form. So I can manipulate this to put it in vertex form. I can do that by completing the square. So to complete the square, I don't like that the leading coefficient is negative 16, so I'm going to go ahead and factor that out. Negative 16. I'm going to just look at this part for now and leave my constant at the end. So if I factor out a negative 16, again I'll leave that constant at the end. Negative 16 divided by negative 16 is t squared. And 32 divided by negative 16 is negative 2. Okay, now that the negative 16 is out of my way, I can go ahead and complete the square for this part in here. I want to turn it into a perfect square trinomial. So to do that, oops, sorry, I forgot the t here earlier. So to do that, I know that I need to add something in here to create a perfect square trinomial. Don't forget this. If you recall, the number that I need to add in comes from this term right here. Let's do this over on the side. I have half of this term squared would be what needs to go here to make a perfect square trinomial. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Squared is positive 1. So positive 1 needs to be added. Now I have a perfect square trinomial, but I can't just add 1, it would change the value. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1 as well, so I didn't really change the value here, I just manipulated the way it looks. Now I have my perfect square trinomial. So from this portion, I know that the perfect square trinomial would have been t minus 1 squared. Minus 1 because this is a negative 2. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. Okay, don't forget the negative 16. Don't forget the plus 2. But wait a minute, what about this negative 1 here? This negative 1 that I put in here is inside of these parentheses. I'd like to bring it out to join and combine with the 2. But I can't just take it out because it's being multiplied with this negative 16. So if I'd like to take it out, I have to perform the multiplication. So negative 16 times negative 1 is positive 16. Because I multiplied, it can come out now. And I'm going to go ahead and simplify this here. So I have h of t equals negative 16 t minus 1 squared plus 18. So I know my vertex comes from my h and my k. My vertex, this is negative 1, so it must be positive 1, 18. Okay, this is my x, this is my y, or in other words, this is my t, and this is my h of t. So I know the time, so the time in 1 second, my height will be 18, what were our units? Feet, 18 feet. So my maximum was 18 feet high, and it took 1 second to get there.